presentation of Team Glory Sports. It's 9:05 at 97.5 Glory FM, and this is the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Live from the Sports Center, 97.5 Glory FM, I'm Mike Wofford. Every Saturday morning, we bring you the latest in local sports in the high school, college, and pro scene with you until 10 o'clock this morning. We're going to talk high school basketball. We're going to talk college basketball. Also, we're going to talk NFL and a lot more this morning on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. It's that special time of year. We go to the playoffs in basketball, then we start things off with the springtime sports across the area. We got a lot going on this morning here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. First off, let's go to what happened last night. As you heard right here on 97.5 Glory FM, it was the Region 8 AAA Basketball Championship from Cherokee Bluff, with the host team making history as the Lady Bears defeat Jefferson, winning that ball game 46-39. In the nightcap of the doubleheader, it was the Cherokee Bluff boys also making history with the region championship as they defeat the number one seed East Hall, winning that one 63-40 last night. Also last night, the Gainesville High boys, they win the region 7 Quinte championship by defeating Lanier in a close ball game 59-53. First region championship for the Red Elephants since 2018. Also from last night, it was the Lakeview Academy boys capturing the GIAA District 4 AAA Quad A championship by defeating Athens Christian, while the Lady Lions fell to Athens Christians last night. They finished number 2 in the GIAA district, and of course they are going to the state playoffs. The Lakeview Academy girls and boys are the defending GIAA state champions. Also last night, it was the North Hall boys falling in a big second half by Pickens as the host Dragons, they defeat North Hall last night. And also the Chestatee girls fell in a close one, losing that one in the last minute of play to White County. So the White County girls will play for a championship today as they will go up against Pickens, while GAC defeated Lumpkin County's boys, and they will play for the region championship in 6 AAA against the host school Pickens coming up later today. We're going to start things off by going right to the phones and talk to our first guest, Cassie Scott, who is the head coach of the Cherokee Bluff Lady Bears, and last night making history. Talked to her at halftime during the boys ball game. I want to talk to her more this morning. Hey there, Cassie.
Good morning, Mike.
Let's see, get you going here, girl. There we go. Got that going. Got that going. Got all the controls going here. Thanks for being with us this morning. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about what happened last night with your team as the Bears jumped out to a big first quarter last night. And tell us about really the mindset going into the game last night, Cassie.
I mean, I just reminded them that we have no pressure to win anything at this point. I said I just wanted them to go out and have some fun, play the game, and remember everything that we've worked for, all the shortcomings we saw coming into this game. And I just told them to play with heart, play with fire, and let people know that they belong to be in that game. And they did all of that, and they came out ready to go.
Were there any doubts to your team when people might have been saying, okay, you finished as the number 3 seed, can you win this thing? Can you beat Oconee County? Can you beat Jefferson? And you prove them, everybody, what you could do this week.
Absolutely. I mean, our region, it was tough between the 3 of us, and those are 2 very well-coached teams. So I don't think there was ever any doubt on our end. Did people have higher expectations for us? I'm sure, but I kept telling our girls, you know, we got to take one game at a time, keep chopping wood, and we'll win them at the right time. And we did that this week, and that's a big ups to them of just never quitting. You know, they'd never felt defeated. We just kept working, kept improving week to week, battled a lot of adversity with injuries and players being out, and they just kept going. And I'm so appreciative of that. I can't ask for anything more.
We're talking with Cassie Scott, the girls basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff, the region 8 AAA champions, and I love saying that from the standpoint you get used to saying that and having that first banner up there. So tell me about, we were talking last night, Cassie, about an unsung hero. Everybody in the team contributed, but was that one girl set up last night?
Yes, Nina Harbuck. She hit a big three for us, and that I felt in that moment was that momentum change in our game. I felt it deep where I was like, all right, we're gonna be okay. And from there, we caught fire and got the lead back like that we needed, and our girls were able to maintain, and it was a exciting game for us.
People have heard me say for so long, Cassie, that it gets contagious, it gets viral once somebody hits one. And once Nina hit that three, then it just started going, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and we just kept doing what we needed to do, and our girls calmed down a little bit. I think, when Jefferson made their little comeback in the second quarter, we started to panic, like, oh my gosh, they're coming back. And I had to tell our girls at halftime, like, hey, this third quarter is going to determine who wins or loses this game, and we just got to calm down and play. We got caught up playing in their momentum and their fast-paced game, and that's just not us. So when we went back to what we know and being disciplined, it worked out in our favor. We hit shots when we needed them and got stops when we needed them.
And when someone went cold, then you went to the next girl out there on the court, and it went from Claire went to Brooklyn. It went out there to Bristol. It went to inside to Hallie. It went all around the court.
Yes, that is one thing that's one thing I emphasize. We know that Claire and Bristol can score, but I remind our girls every day we have multiple people that can score. They just gotta do it. I tell them they have the green light until they don't, and our girls have learned that. They've learned that yes, the Bristols and Claires are going to score, but hey, I can do this too, even if it's a 5 to 10 point chip in. Those are big differences for us. So having that last night was huge. It came up big for us.
And that Jefferson's going to score, and the thing was the defense stopping them. And I like to play Brooklyn. I also like to play Warren last night, and of course always what Audrey does.
Yeah, those three. I mean, they bring a defensive energy that we could always benefit from. Audrey sacrifices her body in so many ways, and she's a competitor. So her mindset is, I'm going to get the ball. Brooklyn came up big for us defensively as well, and Mac really these past couple weeks has stepped in to a role that, I told her, I was like, your number's been called. What can you do with it? And she's come out and proven that she can defend and get in there. So we slowed them down. Jefferson, like I said, they're a well-coached team. They are well-known in their transition offense. And I told them if we can slow them down and play them, make them play in the half court, we can make it a game.
What I like too is that the fact you now won 20 games. That was a big game last night to get that 20 win mark. And that tells you, anybody who win 20 games in that region, it's been a special season.
It is, and like I said, that's an accomplishment within itself, and it's all what these girls do. I talk a lot about. I told you this last night, Mike, when I said, talk a lot about a standard and what my expectations are, and these girls have bought into that, and it's showing. They're trusting the process. They listen to everything I say, and it's not always sunshine and rainbows on our end, and we know that, and they've weathered the storms well, and they've come out on top of it, and I'm just proud of them. It's fun to be part of this.
All right, so now what you do for the day? The girls take a day off here, getting ready for the state playoffs next week?
Yeah, we get them rested up a little bit. It looks like we will find out tomorrow who will we be playing. I'm more than likely going to be a doubleheader, hosting the first round with our boys team on Wednesday. So they'll get a couple days to get a breather in, and we're right back to work on Monday.
All right, looking forward to it. Again, thanks so much for being with us. Congratulations on the win. Pass it on to the girls. Congratulations. It was a big accomplishment for your team. I appreciate it, Cassie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks much. We got much more for you coming up next here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM, your radio station for North Georgia sports. And thanks again to Cassie Scott joining us this morning here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. And we got much more for you coming up next. And I will press the right button. We got much more for you. For you coming up next. 97.5 Glory FM, and we'll try it one more time. Press the right button and see what happens with the computer here. Coming up next, we'll be talking with Josh Travis, who is the head boys basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff. That comes up next. Well, my commercials are not playing, so let's see if we can get something.
Why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Beaufort, Bushton, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings, and one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
The experts are saying that it's going to be another tough year for the flu. Last year it started in October and lasted until May. It's never too early to get your flu shot, and you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
And back at the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM. We go to the phones once again. Now we talk to Josh Travis, the head boys basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff, who won the region championship last night. Hey, Josh. Good talking with you, buddy. So tell us about last night's victory now. You got a chance to think about it.
I think our guys just had an incredible effort on the defensive end. I think the last two games, when you point to them and the success we've had, I think that's what you have to point to.
So it was a big accomplishment. Tell me about how things worked for you after winning the game against Jefferson the way you did, going into the game against East Hall. And it was a really low-scoring battle in the first half.
Sure. Both of those games that you just referenced, the Jefferson game was a fairly low-scoring game in the first half as well. I think when you see somebody as many times as we've seen each other, there's not a whole lot of tricks, first of all. You're not going to come down and run something they've never seen and get a lot of easy buckets. And, East Hall and us in other matchups, we're really able to speed some teams up and make the game faster. But I think it was two good teams with a lot of good guards, and both teams were able to play under control. And so that ended up being a low-scoring game in the first half, for sure.
All right, so in the second half, tell me about the difference. They just couldn't make shots, and I give your defense some credit for that too, Josh.
Well, they didn't get easy shots, right? So
right.
Defensively, we played well. The other thing I'll say is we didn't create easy offense for them. So we had 10 turnovers for the whole game, which, that's a number, every coach wants turnovers low.
Sure. But
10 turnovers in a game against East Hall is a pretty low number. So we didn't create offense for them by turning the ball over. And then we were able to attack the offensive glass maybe as good as we have all year. So when we missed shots, it wasn't East Hall grabbing a rebound, throwing it out, and getting a layup on the other end. They had to battle for the rebound. And we had a guy, Ben Craig, who really stepped up last night on the boards, and Dick Cooper and Boston and those guys. It was a battle for every single rebound. I think that took away some of their easy opportunities.
A great point there, because there you hit the offensive boards. Let's see that figure, how many offensive boards you had, because you had a lot of second chance looks at the basket.
We did, and you know what? I don't have that number in front of me, but we had a couple possessions. And to be honest with you, I was frustrated because I felt like East Hall was doing the same thing to us. They had one possession last night where they had 5 different shot attempts before we ever got the ball back on the other side of the floor.
Yep.
So, but it was that kind of night, man. It's two good teams playing each other for the 4th time with a lot at stake. Every possession was a grind. It was I heard a coach call them rock fights one time. Last night was a rock fight.
Well, first off, making history is one big thing, but then also people got to realize now with the new format is that you're guaranteed to be one of the top 8 seeds, and pretty much they're toward the top of the list as one of the top seeds in this tournament.
I think that we're going to be the number 3 seed overall. They take the region champs first, and us at East Hall had both kind of been jumping back and forth between 3rd and 4th. So winning the region championship, you get to be, in that first group that gets seeded. I think that'll put East Hall as the 8th seed, if I'm doing my math right.
I think you're right too, yeah. Because of those private schools, they're affecting things, and they get taken out of the equation, so then they get a chance to move up. And the people say, okay, if Bluff is only number 3, who in the world's better than them? And I got to say, yeah, who's better than you right now?
Well, that's a formula, first of all.
Yes, it is.
It's up there. And I'm not sitting here telling you that I think we're the 3rd best team in the state either. I think there's a lot of good teams out there. And just down the road, Pickens County hasn't lost a game all year. They're 27 or 28-0. Sandy Creek and Cedar Grove, I got to see those guys this summer when we were in things. They're very impressive. Cross Creek got upset in their region championship. They might be the best team in the whole thing, but they're probably going to come in as the 9 seed because they got upset.
Wow.
So there's a lot of good teams, and these games aren't on ESPN, so we don't get to see everybody every day. There's a lot of speculation, and then you try to come up with a formula that puts it in there, and it's all speculation, right, until we get on the floor. That's what makes it fun.
There's a big thing right there. You get to see those region teams over and over again, it seems like, but then now you get basically 2 days to prepare for your next opponent.
Hopefully 2 days. If we get to know 2 days ahead. So
right,
I think there's a lot. Yeah, I think there's a lot that's good with what we're trying to do with these power rankings and the way they're separating the state tournaments. I think they're trying to put people against, like-minded schools. But that's the one thing that's interesting is we don't know what region we're paired up with. We don't know, say, hey, you're paired with Region 3 and you're going to play one of these 4 teams or one of these 2 teams. Now we're waiting till the bracket is released, and half the regions haven't finished playing yet. There's still people playing today.
That's the big thing. We talked with Coach Josh Travis, the head coach of the region champion, Cherokee Bluff Bears, heard right here. They won last night's ball game 63-40. I asked Coach Scott this question. I'll ask you the same thing. Was there an unsung hero for your team last night?
Well, I think I've already taken the unsung tag off of him when I named Ben Craig.
There you go. Ben
was, the numbers, you can – I got 3 guys in Tyler Underwood and Cooper Glover and Boston Kirsch that you can really point to because they have big nights and put up numbers at times. And Tyler used to be that unsung hero. Kind of the story of our season is he's been in the spotlight and really taken us to another level. So Cooper had 25 last night. You can point to that. But in Ben, we have a guy who is a senior playing his first year, and his role is very inconsistent from game to game. But he's never complained. He's never wavered. And when his number's called, he steps up. When it's the right night for him, he goes and performs. And that's what he did last night. And he brings an edge to us. I think we already had it, but he makes it even that much more. So definitely Ben Craig, if I had to say somebody was an unsung hero.
Same thing back Wednesday night.
Guys. Go ahead.
No, so the same thing back on Wednesday night. The same thing that Wednesday night with Ben. He had a great game Wednesday night.
Sure. Ben's, I say he doesn't have a lot of experience on the basketball court. He has a ton in football. And he played both sides and there, his freshman and senior year are bookends in football of a lot of success. He's always been a guy who's on the field. He's always mature. So he's not the spotlight. When we talk about sharing athletes between different sports, he's a veteran when it comes to competing. He may not be a veteran when it comes to playing basketball. But to be out there with the region championship on the line was not something Ben hasn't experienced.
Great point. All right, so one player I liked how he contributed last night and hit some big shots was Andy.
Yeah, with the mask on, right?
Yes.
Tell
me about
that guy.
that.
So he takes a charge in the Jefferson game. I mean, against a huge Jefferson has this big, strong kid who attacks the baseline. I don't know how many pounds, how many inches he has on Andy. Andy steps up, makes a huge play taking a charge, but he catches an elbow to the nose, breaks his nose. We can't even play him in the second half because of how much blood he lost from a nosebleed. And I don't mean to laugh like a flippant, but then to turn around 2 days later, nose is still broke, throws a mask on, plays as good as he ever has defensively, fights and scraps for every long rebound he can, and then is hitting shots. So that's a tough dude right there. That is one really tough dude.
What about Andy
So
Carr?
I was proud of him. Yes, sir.
Well,
Andy Carr. He's been that guy his whole career, too.
Well, Joe even mentioned, he said, Mike, see, Andy's down there in pregame. He's taking shots to his face just to make sure that mask works, And I thought, that tells you something right there.
That's some of our identity right now. And these guys all contribute to it. I'm really proud of them.
Final thing for you, buddy. You've been there, done that with the college scene, but now tell me about the importance of a region championship at Bluff.
Well, I think anytime you get an opportunity to play for any championship, it's a big deal. And Cherokee Bluff is a 7-year-old school. So there's a lot of history being created every time you do anything. So this team, and it doesn't diminish any of it, but this team currently has the school's all-time leading scorer, all-time leading rebounder, all-time leading assists, all-time leader in steals. We have all of those things playing on the floor for us right now. We have a group of seniors who they were the first sixth-grade class at Cherokee Bluff. I told you that last night at halftime of the girls' game. So for them to everything that we are, for better and for worse, they are the builders. They're the guys that are laying the foundation. So for them to finish that out with, Lanier Land Championship, Region Championship, and hopefully a deep run in state, it means more to them than it does to me. They only get one shot at some of these things.
Sure.
So I think it's very special, and I hope it's something that I'm talking to some of these guys about 20, 30 years from now.
Absolutely, and a lot of fun too. All right, buddy. Congratulations again. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. I appreciate you setting your arm and waking up with me this morning. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Mike. If you ever want to change the show to 11 a.m., I'll be in favor of that.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it much. Hey, man, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next time, okay? All right.
Yes, sir.
That is Josh Travis of the Cherokee Bluff boys basketball team. And what a job they did last night by defeating the Eastall Vikings 63-44 at the region championship. And we got much more for you coming up next here on 97.5 Glory FM, your radio station for North Georgia sports. We'll talk a little college sports action for UNG up next with Brendan Shabbat. What do you like about the church you go to?
It's all biblical, the stuff that they sing and all the scripture and stuff that they use and the messages. So I like it that way.
I think it would just stir them to see that, Christianity can be relevant and it's creative today.
When you find a good church near you, you'll find a vehicle for life change for your entire family.
Well, I just was living my life for myself and for the world, and, God got a hold of my heart. The short story is I haven't been the same since.
A message from 97.5.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins, your representative to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
Your home is part of you, and keeping it comfortable and well-maintained is essential. Conditioned Air Systems is North Georgia's solution for residential heating, air, and plumbing services. For more than 40 years, our family has been committed to delivering the highest quality service by our certified technicians and plumbers. Experience the difference today when you choose Conditioned Air Systems for your home's heating, air, and plumbing needs. Quality you can feel, service you can trust. Visit conditionedairsystems.com to schedule an appointment.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Buford, Houston, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings, and one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
And back to the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. We go to the phones down and talk college sports action for the University of North Georgia with Brendan Shabeth. And there's Director of Operations when it comes to their Director of Athletic Communications. Hey, Brendan.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I am doing great, sir. How about you?
Doing well, doing well. Another big day, another big weekend of UNG athletics. So.
Well, I tell you, as an alumnus, today is a very special day. It is homecoming there at UNG. Tell everybody about things going on there today.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff going on today at the basketball games for homecoming. It's always nice to have the alums come back and celebrate our teams, and we get to celebrate them coming back on campus and seeing everything that we have. I know it's supposed to be a packed crowd today. As far as people in the Champions Club and hospitality, and we're expecting a big crowd for both of these games, so it should be a lot of fun.
All right, so how's the weather affecting the outdoor sports today?
So unfortunately, baseball has been canceled today. They were supposed to play at 2 o'clock and finish their series against St. Leo. That game has been moved to tomorrow. I believe it will be played either at 12 or 1 o'clock. I don't know if we have officially set a time for that one tomorrow. Softball is scheduled to finish the second day of the Gold City Classic today against Emmanuel and Emory and Henry. That's still on as of right now. Those games will start at 1 o'clock and then are scheduled for 3 and 5 o'clock as well for the final two games. That's delayed an hour from yesterday when it was originally scheduled to start at 12. So we're going to wait and see how the rain goes. We're expecting a playable window around that time, and hopefully we can get those games in.
I would say thank goodness for the upgrades there at UNG with that turf field there at the softball complex.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the turf is really nice. That we don't really have to worry about the quality of the field whenever it rains because of the turf and because of the great job they've done with the facilities over there. All it's about is just if the rain is going to be light enough for us to play or if
Sure.
it's going to hold off. So it's super nice when we do get this inevitable weather in the spring to help the schedule and help the teams and try to get those games in even when the weather doesn't cooperate.
All right, so all eyes are on the basketball game with USC Buford, right?
Absolutely. It's a big game for both teams. The women are looking, they've cemented first place right now with a couple wins lately. They had a win on the road against Columbus State last week, and then they also beat Lander on Saturday in a big win on the road as well. Never easy to go to Greenwood and win at Horn Arena over there. And they had their best conference win of the year by 26 points over the Bearcats. Really impressive win. The women's team is coming along nicely right now at a good time of year as we near March. And so it'll be a big game for them, obviously in front of a big homecoming crowd. Hopefully they can pick up a win. And then on the men's side, USC Buford has been one of the biggest surprises in the Peach Belt Conference and perhaps in the Southeast region this year. They're 19-5 right now. I believe their conference record is 8-3, 7-3. They're right around the top of the standings. It looks like Columbus State is probably going to win the Peach Belt Conference because they've been really good this year on the men's side. But USC Buford's a really tough team. They've got some really good players, a couple nice transfers, and it was a good game in Bluffton, South Carolina, between these two teams last time, and Buford pulled it out with a 3-point win late in that game. So our men's team is going to be looking for revenge and to get off a 5-game losing streak, and I think they've got a good chance to do it today.
That's the time to do it, too, as we celebrate homecoming at the University of North Georgia today. Game time's what, 1:30 for the women's game?
1:30 for the women's, 3:30 for the men's. Yep.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it much. We'll celebrate a victory today, okay?
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, Mike.
All right, thanks. That is Brandon Sabath, the Director of Athletic Communications there at the University of North Georgia. Thanks for joining us this morning. We got much more coming up next. We'll talk about fishing here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. Stop that. What is going on here? All right, buddy. I appreciate it much. Thank you.
And you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the batteries. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
It is now 9:35 here at 97.5 Glory FM. 25 minutes left to the show. We still got a lot more to talk about this morning. We go back to the phones here and talk to our next guest, who is co-host of the brand new show. We've got week number 3, Hooked on Lanier, here on 97.5 Glory FM. Talking to Brandon Whitesides. Good morning, Brandon.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Doing great, sir. Another great show this morning.
Yeah, I agree. I've already gotten some feedback, and they said it was getting better and better, and it could have been one of our best despite having some technical difficulties.
Well, the technical difficulty is when you call and somebody doesn't answer the phone. That's it. That's the technical difficulty.
Yeah. Well, yes, Mike. Let me clarify. The technical issues were not on our end. But hopefully we'll have one or maybe both of those guests make it next week's show. But yeah. It's raining out there, fish to be caught, just like we said. I'll get to that in a moment. But, yeah, it was a great show. We had a great discussion with Destination Boat Clubs. Mike Craig, who's the general manager, he talked about that whole program and who it's intended for and the benefits of it. Of course, we did talk a lot of fishing and techniques for this time of year and what to expect for the spring. And I'm really excited about next week. We've got Captain Ron Mullins. He's one of the premier striper guides on the lake. He runs the Striper Experience Guide Service, so he's going to be calling in next week, definitely to give us a detailed stripe report. I'm very excited that we're going to have Captain Greg DiStefano calling in. He's also a U.S. Coast Guard captain on Lake Lanier. He runs fishing charters, but his big claim to fame is he manufactured a line of drop shot weights. And if you're a bass fisherman, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They do have application for striper fishing as well. So he's going to talk about how he developed that particular weight, what the drop shot technique is, and where and when to use it to be most effective. And then last but not least, we should have on the high school circuit, an angler call in and or one of the coaches from local area high school.
Looking forward to that. I tell you, I keep learning something each and every week when I hear Brandon and Harper talk about Hooked on Lanier on 97.5 Glory FM. After the show, I told Brandon I had one question for him. You talked about Buford Dam and what happens when they generate power. So tell me about how does that affect the fish down that way when they start generating power?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. So in the summer months particularly, or really any time after there's been a lot of rain, they'll open up the dam. The dam's always open and it's trickling water, but they really open up the floodgates, so to speak. And when they do that, particularly on the south end of the lake, particularly in the deeper channels in the main river channel, which is the Chattahoochee at that point, it creates an underwater current. And what that does is it calls the bait fish to start moving around. And then, of course, the predators are right there, the stripers and the bass. And it's almost like it indicates feeding time. It's like the dinner bell ringing. So there are some times throughout the year, it really doesn't matter, particularly if the fish are up shallow on the points and the humps and in the back of the creeks, but definitely when they're in the deep water, definitely when they're on the south end. That dinner bell often starts ringing. The bite is lackluster in the morning. It's lackluster around noon, but usually 2, 3 o'clock when they open that dam in the afternoon, it triggers a feeding frenzy.
I'll tell you one thing you do a great job with, Brandon, is you paint a visual picture for me to see what's going on with the analogies you have and see what's going out there in the lake. And so looking forward to next week's program. So on the air bright and early at 6, and we'll have a live video stream on our YouTube channel at Team Glory Sports. It should be an exciting show, friend.
Yeah, I agree, Mike, and I hope everyone tunes in. I hope they enjoyed today's show.
I hope so, too. We enjoyed it from this standpoint. I really did. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you next time, okay?
Okay, sounds good, Mike.
All right, that is Brandon Whitesides, who is co-host of the show, Hooked on Lanier on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll talk his co-host, Harper Bell. We'll talk NFL football as the season's come to an end. The Super Bowl 59, we'll talk about that and more. Coming up next on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins. You're represented to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
On-time service and experience matter for your home's heating and air system. For more than 40 years, Conditioned Air Systems has been North Georgia's solution for residential HVAC installation, maintenance, and repair. Family-owned and operated, we deliver the highest quality service on any brand and model with no hidden fees, promising 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Comfort you can feel, quality you can trust. Visit conditionedairsystems.com to schedule an appointment.
We're back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM with all our digital platforms. We're streaming on the TuneIn Radio app, Simple Radio app, the Radio Garden app, at home on your Amazon Echo, and also we're streaming on our website, WGTJRadio.com. Just click on the Listen Live link. We're joined now by Brandon Whiteside's co-host, Harper LaBelle, who's also our NFL expert, talking about the big game back on Sunday. Hey, Harper.
Record breaker. He had 122 million people join you and me, and there were about 135 for the halftime show. Did you enjoy the halftime show, Mike? Did you stick around for that, or did you go get a bite to eat?
I did not watch that at all, and I heard some things about it afterwards. And people, it seemed like the interest was gone after the first half of the football game. It's like, okay, people watched the halftime show, and then the big thing was, okay, what commercial is going to be the most interesting in the game?
Yeah. Did you have a gold, silver, or bronze medal that you issued out? There were some emotional ones. They brought the Clydesdales back. They had just about anybody who is anybody in Hollywood. Mike, there used to be a day when if you were a film actor, you were on the big screen, you would never go to television, and you would certainly never do a commercial. But I think those days are long gone. They've gone the way of the dodo, where just about everybody who has some sort of celebrity will cross that line to be on a Super Bowl commercial.
Well, for me, not being a visual person anymore, to me, the one that really interested me the most was the T-Mobile commercial, because they have teamed up with Elon Musk and Starlink, and they're saying you could, get a phone call anywhere. And I'm sure it was like with the commercial when I listened to it, was like they were in some very, very, very remote location. Like, hey, Harper, I'm right here. That's amazing to me.
We just had commercials that were in the Super Bowl a few years ago. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
And now it's, of course I can hear you now. You're in the middle of a cave in the depths of the catacombs, and you can still have a connection with somebody. Technology certainly is crept in. They had a new, I call it a bug, Mike, the screen where you get the score and how much time is on the clock. Fox announced that they would be doing that, and some people liked it, some people didn't. Mm-hmm. There's some interesting things that they're going to try out, but the halftime show for me was interesting because before the artist, Kendrick Lamar, goes on, I am watching, Howie and Gronk and Terry and everybody, and they're all talking about Kansas City. That's all they need to do. I guess they were watching a different game, because for me it was just a complete and utter dominance by Philadelphia. They were up 24-0 at the half, and even though everybody was saying, all Kansas City needs to do on their first drive, they got to score and get a stop, and they can be right back. No, that wasn't going to happen.
Football's an easy game, isn't it, Harper,
Yeah. It's real easy at halftime when you're talking about it, but Oh my gosh, complete domination, and congratulations to the Eagles. And now Jalen Hurts can go the rest of his life.
Yes.
And whenever he's introduced anywhere, they will say Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts.
He's probably a Hall of Famer sometime in the future too. You know.
That certainly is a step in the right direction. A little premature for me to vote him in, but you know, he's definitely crossed one of the biggest hurdles in that. It seems any quarterback now you've got to get. You know, well, Eli was passed up; he's got 2.
Isn't that amazing? Yes.
Yeah. I know.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. Is that I have a cousin who lives in the Philadelphia area, and her adopted son, is from Russia, and great guy. And he's an athletic type of guy, and he's got a job at the golf course up that way. And he's caddying. You know, he's got all the caddy stuff. You drive the golf cart. All of a sudden, he's got a guy who's the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's got a guy who's a quarterback of the Eagles. And he's going, okay, how can can get your bag, sir? It's like, and they become friends. And it's got, here's my card. You know, call me sometime. And it's like, oh my goodness gracious. You know, do you have any idea what that is worth, just knowing that person first off? Then they will say, we did 18 holes with Jalen Hurts. You know, that's amazing to me. And that's how small the world is. And it's like, okay, but you see, they're also just regular guys.
Yeah, a little bit of all of that. I remember when I played for Philadelphia, Ron Jaworski was the guy that had a golf course and wanted everybody to play out there. It's a real distinct honor, and for your relative to have those ties to where they not only watch the game because they want to watch, but they know the people that are on. It's a completely different thing. But I'm glad that you confirm what I already know. Jalen is a class act. He doesn't let it show when things aren't going well, and when things are going great, he doesn't let that show either. He's so even keel. And again, now NFL and Super Bowl champion to add to his resume.
Hey Harper, let everybody know too. You're a pretty big guy. You played the NFL for several teams. Of course, most know with our Atlanta Falcons. You're here locally now, but when I shake your hand, how big your hand is. But now these guys in the Eagles, we hear how big they are. You know, they're 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". They're 350, 360, 370, and it's like they could run a 40 in like what a sprinter used to, that kind of thing. And it's amazing to understand how big these guys are. And that's why they were so dominant this past Sunday against the Chiefs, don't you think?
Yeah, on both sides of the line, a little bit smaller on the defensive line, but quicker. And one of the things I noticed is that every last one of them did a great job of getting to the quarterback, and then when they flushed Mahomes out, they were able to sprint him down. That's the part that a lot of guys can't do both. You have the power, and then to beat an offensive lineman who weighs 320 or 330, and then get to a quarterback who's running full speed to try to get away and buy some additional time. The game plan was absolutely phenomenal, and how they prepared for that in whatever ways. But you're right, Mike. These guys are bigger, faster, stronger. It is amazing how much bigger they are. I mean, I played with Mike Ken, who was 6'7", but he was 295. Right now, he'd be small. You'd look at him and you go, hey, who's that skinny dude that's out there? Because everybody is 320, 330 or above. And again, athletically, as you mentioned, they are very good, and they do things bigger, faster, stronger than my generation certainly did.
As we ask you, a guy here who works locally whose brother played for the Falcons. Did you play with John Scully?
I'm a little younger than John. John was, I mentioned Mike Ken, and John ended up ending his career right about the time I got to Atlanta. I missed him by a year or two.
Okay, well, his brother's a doctor here at the Northeast Georgia Medical Center, and I'd ask you that question if you had a chance. I knew it was about that time. Maybe it was ending his career from that standpoint.
Scully, R.C. Tillman was another guy. Van Note near the end of his career, long before I got here. But, those were mainstays for the Falcons for years, and that was one of the great things that they had is a good offensive line that played together for a long time, and it looks like Philadelphia is going to have the same thing.
Yeah, and that's something you want to try to copy if you're another team, like as in the Atlanta Falcons from that standpoint. Hey, we were talking during the Hooked on Lanier show during one of the commercial breaks, is that, you look at the glitz of the game, and there's the one player everybody's looking at who's got the famous girlfriend. You look at Kelsey, and it's like, okay, you think it was his last game, you think?
Yeah, from what I see, and there were rumors floating around, and the press was asking him, "Is this it?" And then, as early as last night, I don't know if he's made the official announcement to where he's going to be in front of a microphone and shed the tears, but it looks like Travis Kelce may have had his last game. I don't know if that is salary cap related, where the Chiefs control that. I don't know if it's a play like we've had other quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Favre did it for a couple of years, to where he may just get out of his contract and try to play somewhere else for a family discount or something like that. Or maybe he just says, you know what, I got other things in my life I want to do. I want to have more fun. I want to act. I want to be on these podcasts. I want to go to pop concerts. But he had a heck of a career, that's for sure.
Well, right there, for example, I have not watched a football game as in watched with the blind guy here. I can't keep up with the network TV broadcast because, first of all, the crowd noise is so loud, and the announcers, it's difficult to hear them describe the game for me. But I'll be honest, I didn't even know, the job. I thought he did a great job. The part I heard in the game was Tom Brady.
For his first Super Bowl, there was one portion near the end of the game, Mike, that I thought that, well, are we going to talk about Tom's Super Bowl experience or what these guys are going through?
Right.
Because I know there were some correlations between, yes, this is how hard it is, or I went through something very similar that everybody wants to hear a little bit more about. I mean, who wouldn't? Because Tom's success is second to none right now, even though Patrick is catching up. But Bradshaw certainly has a lot to talk about. Joe Montana. There's plenty of others that won 3 Super Bowls, but really Tom's in and of himself in a group of one. But yeah, I think he did a great job. Now I know Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are a little disappointed that they're not the number 1 team anymore, but they paid Tom an arm and a leg and a few fingers to take over. And for his first Super Bowl, I think he did an outstanding job.
Yep, that first half I heard, I thought it was interesting. I had no idea. I said, Tom Brady? Oh my goodness. It's okay.
And you're more sensitive to this than others, Mike. But they filter the crowd out, and all the noise, the music and everything else, and it's so slushy. I don't like it or prefer it.
Right.
I'd love to hear the crowd. Back when I was growing up and when I went to college, listening to the Denver crowd for a home game and a late rally by the Broncos. That made the game for me. The emotion was genuine. It wasn't piped in. It was real.
Hey, Seattle, for example, same kind of thing. Hit the Richter scale, that kind of thing. Hey, final thing for you. We talk about the NFL, and we hear from Rich McKay, for example, and the Rules Committee, that kind of thing. They've got to fix the kickoff rule, don't you think?
Well, it's gone from being more exciting to less exciting with what they did this year. And I thought that some special teams coach would be able to figure out a way to get my small guys against some other big guys and get a couple returns.
Yes.
Because that is absolutely one of the more exciting things. A kick or a punt return. Ask Deion Sanders, if that helped his career at all.
Oh, yes.
But for that to be, because of safety is concerned, to be removed completely and totally, I think they've overgauged the pendulum and put too much of it in one area. I think it's a part of the game that needs to be a part of the game, and I don't know why they want to take it away other than, one guy gets a concussion. They are big hits, don't get me wrong, but you can't eliminate that. That to me is they need to reconsider that.
Do you see maybe in the future, the way technology is, maybe doing away with the yardsticks on the sidelines and doing some kind of laser type thing to, measure a first down, that kind of thing, where the ball is going to be?
Well, you probably noticed, Mike, they are certainly going the way of the dodo with that as well, is that there are very, very few measurements. I think you have the ability with a ball that has a chip in each end of it, something that's really small, but you can detect what you need to about forward progress and have a chip in each of the 4 points of a line of scrimmage. You got one on each sideline. You got 2 in the middle for your hash marks. And the technology allows for that, but I don't know what that cost is going to be, to where that filters down into, SEC or Sun Belt or, AAC game levels, and then ultimately at high school. Not yet, but it's on the way. Let's put it that way.
Goodness gracious, they're going to Australia next year, friend. Which I don't understand. I really don't.
Well, for the game to expand and to grow, we had a guest on. His name is Patrick Steenberg on one of my podcasts, and he put a game together in Tanzania, Africa. It was the first game of any kind where American football was on that continent, and Tanzania welcomed it. So Drake University played a group of all-stars from Mexico. So it's a three-country event, and we're not anywhere close to being able to have kids from all over the world play, but maybe they play flag or another form of tackle-less football to get started and learn the game.
Wow, how about that? All right, Harper Bell, he's our NFL expert. You can hear him on Hooked on the Ear on Saturday mornings at 6 with Brandon Whitesides. Thanks, Brandon. We'll talk later, okay?
Have a fantastic day, Mike. Thank you.
Be blessed, sir. Appreciate it very much. We got much more for you. We're going to wrap things up. We'll preview today's college basketball game with Appalachian State with Georgia State with Dave Cohen right here on 90. Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. Let's wrap things up by previewing today's college basketball game as we have Georgia State and Appalachian State, and the voice of the Georgia State Panthers on the air is always with us, Dave Cohen. Hey, David.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I am doing great, sir. Glad to talk with you once again, getting ready for the big game today, and it is a big game, isn't it?
Sure is. Right now, Georgia State having won 4 of their last 5, coming off a really nice win on Thursday night. Over Old Dominion, trying to put a little bit of a run together before they head out on a 4-game road trip to wrap up the season. Today will be senior day down at the GSU Convocation Center, final regular season home game. They're going to take on the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. And right now, when you look at the Sun Belt Conference standings, Arkansas State sitting atop the league, followed by South Alabama, Appalachian State, Troy, and James Madison all tied at 9-4, and then Georgia State is in a group there at 6-7. So, starting to play pretty good basketball. I've had Georgia State coaches in the past tell me we want to be playing some of our best basketball in the month of February, and I think it's safe to say that having won 3 in a row, coming off that Sun Belt MAC Challenge win in Buffalo last Saturday, a win on Thursday night over Old Dominion, and we'll see how we do today. This is an opportunity to carry some momentum into these final 4 regular season road games and then into Pensacola.
Yep, last 2 weeks of the regular season will be on the road, and then we get ready for Pensacola coming up in March, and we'll see if we can bring some games to our listeners right here on 97.5 Glory FM. If not, you can hear the game on the Georgia State Sports app from that standpoint to see how the tournament schedule works out. So that's going to be interesting. It all begins hopefully for the Panthers there on Wednesday, March the 5th. But you go really today, in my mind, if you can really carry the fans with you into the last 4 games of the season to follow the team and say, okay, here we got a chance now to even go further up the standings getting ready for the tournament in March.
Yeah, looking to pick up a little momentum, and that includes, fan support as well. They haven't had a whole lot of consistent winning this year, other than the last 2.5 weeks, in order to get behind and get excited about. But hopefully we'll have a good crowd for Senior Day today. Those final 4 road games are James Madison in Harrisonburg, Virginia, Old Dominion in Norfolk. Then you got to go down in the last week of the season to Myrtle Beach or Conway and take on Coastal Carolina. And then guess where we finish up the regular season? The lovely borough of Statesboro against Georgia Southern in the second meeting between Georgia State and Georgia Southern, as those 2 will play the final regular season game before they both head down to Pensacola.
And it's all fitting, isn't it?
Yep. And the games are not played on paper, so you never know. But after just dismantling Old Dominion on Thursday night, that game in Norfolk is very winnable, and Coastal Carolina is dead last in the league. That game is very winnable.
All right, we're on the air today at 2 p.m. with the Georgia State Sports Network right here. I'll be manning the controls. Dave has the play-by-play. It's on 97.5 Glory FM. Again, coming up at 2 p.m. with Appalachian State. Have a good one, friend. Appreciate it much.
Okay, Mike, thanks.
All right, we got much more for you coming up today. Again, at 2 p.m., it's college basketball for you right here on 97.5.
Glory FM is WTTJ, Murrayville, Gainesville.